Good morning. I want to give a little bit of an update as far as the recovery after the flood is concerned. We were very fortunate to have friends come by yesterday, Pat and Case from Tombstone, and you all know Derek, Handyman Howlett. He came over with his tractor and he worked on grading or regrading most of the property area that we're using. Case and I were able to clean out the tent that you're looking at now. We scraped about 8 or 10 wheelbarrows full of mud out of there. Now the tool shed that I'm going over to right now, that fared much better. Water did not breach the corners or the foundation. These railroad ties did real well. What it did where the water and a little bit of mud came in was through the door. So really, if I increase the height of my sill, I think we'll be in good shape. So we emptied it out, scraped out some mud. We're letting it dry out, and then we'll put everything back in it. Otherwise, though, as far as the perimeter is concerned, everything's perfect. Nothing shifted, nothing moved, and we're in good shape. Unfortunately, our small generator did get stuck up in the mud, and it all happened so quickly I had forgotten that it was underneath our trailer. So I'm going to see if I can clean that out and get that back in serviceable again. So as we walk along the property, you can see all the regrading that's been done. And we have our little front area all set up again, cleaned up. The grill and pizza oven completely coated in mud. I've cleaned them up. I have not tried to restart them yet. I want to make sure all the orifices are clean and open before I put propane to it. But it makes us at least feel a little bit more normal. So this whole area has been regraded. Chloe still feels comfortable out here. And we're just giving it a chance to dry out. We had some plywood to make a little bridge going over to the solar shed where we housed actually a lot of items because the solar shed was fantastic in this storm. No water, no problems, solid as a rock. And none of the buildings are showing any signs of settling or moving, so we feel like we're really in good shape. Here you can get a good idea of how much new mud and sand we have. Now this has already been graded down and raked out a little bit. But this here was a 2x4 platform that this rain barrel was sitting on, and it's completely buried. And here you can see remnants of the mud that we haven't gotten around to removing yet. So let me walk over to the platform. We raised this up to let things dry out underneath and also to give Derek a little more room to move. The water box is still here, and the water connection at the main was broken. So we don't know, and it's just hooked up temporarily, so we'll have to wait and see. That's low on the priority right now. We really don't need that hooked up right now. So the water came rushing through. It did come underneath as well. You can see, let me get a little closer. So you can see the movement of the dirt underneath our platforms, these little things right here. Are still in good shape. There are certain areas where you can see there's been a little bit of a wash away and the footing has actually been exposed. Now the footings go 30 inches deep, and our worst ones are these two right here where we're going to have to backfill. There's about 8 inches exposed, so we have about 22 to 24 inches still remaining in the ground. There's been no shifting or anything. So this whole area here, which is where our septic tank is, right back here, and where I had my 60-foot trench dug all the way up to the house, that's all been actually, of course, completely filled in from the storm and the flooding. And Derek drove his tractor down here, smoothed all of this out for us. And here you can clearly see a before and after shot of what the entire property looked like. It was just a layer of mud and debris. So we're lucky to have great neighbors and friends to come in and help us recover from this. This is something we could not have done on our own, not by hand. So let's come up this way. We're walking on the other side of the foundation. Again, more areas. Luckily, all of our compost bins did not get affected. Now, what happened was the water came through down here from an adjacent property where the wash, and we were aware of this wash, and it never seemed to bother us before because, well, frankly, it's in an area that we don't use, and yeah, so it's no big deal to us. But you can see the change in landscape over here. So this wash now goes all the way down here to the end of the property. But that's okay. We'll get it all under control. So let me just take you up front real quick, show you the progress that Yvonne and her friend Pat, or our friend Pat, made yesterday in cleaning up the greenhouse. Again, here you can see just the mud. Look at the amount of debris that is caught on the fence. And that's the entire perimeter. We lost probably 250, maybe 350 linear feet of fencing. It's been completely folded over through the force of the water and the way it caught the debris. Our solar array survived beautifully. It's still solid. Everything still works. The solar never gave out. And so we're very lucky that we have power, we have water, and the roads are now cleared so that we actually have access to get out again. So this area here, here's where our water main break occurred. And what you see here is just a temporary hookup. This Pecs line is going down to the trailer. This Pecs line was here before. It was buried. It got completely washed up because this is where the water traveled in that direction toward the trailer, coming down here from a breach in a wash about 300 feet, maybe 400 feet away over here to the south. So just to give you an idea of the power of this water, I had a series of very large driftwood branches and tree trunks lining here, just decorative. But there were also several very large boulders, and those boulders are completely washed away. We have absolutely no idea where they went. But the water picked up what it wanted to pick up and did with it what it wanted to do. But everything is good. You can see here how the fence was forced up, branches going through. And let me show you the greenhouse real quick. So this is the outdoor grow area, and here you can clearly see that's about 12 inches here. That the level of the ground outside the fencing is about 12 inches higher now than it was before. And all of this is just mud that has come in here. And like I mentioned in some of our Instagram postings, this mud will get recycled. We'll be using it to make our earthen plaster for the house. So we'll try to make lemonade out of lemons. Here you can see how the deer netting just caught all the debris. But this is a part, I guess, they couldn't get to, and I can understand why, but that's just mud in there. Just mud caked in there. So we're going to try to look at it positively, that mud, when it dries up, it's going to solidify everything. So but the main areas of the greenhouse have now been completely cleaned out. Here you can see on that pot how high the mud was. That's about 10 inches right there. That's a good example of how high it went. But everything's cleaned out. The water line here in the greenhouse did not break, so that's good news. And yeah, we're looking for every bit of good news that we can find. Let me just show you real quick here. Here you can see also just the amount of mud that's still remaining to be cleaned up. And we just realized it's going to take probably a couple months to get this back up to normal. And this is all the material that was removed from the ground inside the greenhouse. Easily 10 wheelbarrows full, 8 wheelbarrows full, and it's just pure clay and straw, which is almost cob, which means we can use that for our buildings. And one last thing, this big rock right here, too small to call a boulder, but it's a pretty good sized rock, bigger than a basketball. That was up out at the gate, and that floated underneath the trailer. We have to dry out our cover material for our composting toilet because this whole receptacle here was found all the way at the end of our property. This is all stuff that was underneath the trailer and in other areas. And there's our delivery box, which maybe I can recover, maybe I can't. I don't know. We'll see. It's all a question of priorities. The drain lines and everything were torn out. Our dry well that we dug was filled, just immediately filled in. There's not even a sign of where it used to be. And interestingly enough, when you walk the property down this way, the property is littered with sandbags that we've always had, actually. We built a small retaining wall around the trailer to try to protect it from, and it did. It worked fine for normal rains and when the wash was running in a normal fashion. But it just literally picked these sandbags up, and you can see them dotted all over. Sandbags, partly buried too, all down the property. This is also something that has now changed as far as the terrain is concerned. This used to be all beautiful flat terrain, and where the water came running through, it carved out this wash. Here you can see it came up from this way toward the gate, the main entrance to the property, comes down here. This is about 8 feet wide at this point right here, and goes down, and you can see the ledge that it's now carved out. So I guess it's just something we're going to have to live with. What we've done is we've put in a request for help from the University of Arizona. They offer a service where they have someone come out for free. They come out and analyze your property and make recommendations with regards to berming and earthworks. Here's another small wash. Again, you can see all the sandbags dotted all over. And but anyways, they'll come out, look at the property, and make recommendations. And then we have friends, YouTube friends, and friends from the area that have offered help with large machinery to come in and help us create some earthworks. So we're just going to wait for some professional advice, and then we'll get to work on it. But guys, I just wanted to let you know that, I was just going to wrap it up, and I thought I'd show you something real quick. Concrete block right here. That concrete block was used, this pier block was used to hold our sunshades down on the trailer, and it was buried in the ground, and it was washed up and carried all the way down here. And in fact, Yvonne said she found one on the road about a quarter mile down the road that she thinks was ours as well. Anyways, guys, that's it. I just wanted to let you know that even when there's disaster, you just put your nose to the grindstone and, figure it out. There's no choice but to keep on trucking. Anyways, thanks for the support. We want to thank everybody who's made given us such incredible moral support through YouTube and Instagram. I mean, the outpouring has just been really moving, and we appreciate it all. Thank you so much, and we'll keep you involved and also updated.